What is going on, guys? It's Adam, aka Marf, and this is Marfoogle News. Tonight, we are talking about a whole lot of things. We're going to sum up the entire week. We're going to give you the most important parts right after this. We'll be right back. Just to let you guys know, nothing in the show should be considered legal, medical, or financial advice. The views of the callers can differ considerably and do not necessarily reflect the opinions of myself, Dex, or anyone who helps the show, including our wonderful mods. You should always do your own research and consult with professionals. The internet is full of fake news, so please take everything with a grain of salt. With that being said, what is up, guys? My name is Adam, aka Marf, and this is Marfoogle News. Tonight, we're going to be going over the entire week, and we're going to really sum up everything. We are trying out a little bit something different, going over kind of the most important things from the last week so you can get everything in one spot here on Saturday. We're still working on a lot of things. If you've never been here before, my name is Adam, of course, and this is our third platform. This is our main platform at 155,000 subscribers, Marfoogle News. We also have Marfoogle TV at 116,000 subscribers. And then, of course, we have our amazing family over on DLive, which is closing in on 20,000 subscribers, or followers, I guess they call it. First off, let me let you guys know that you guys can go to our website at marfooglenews.com, and you can follow absolutely everything that we are saying. We don't just say something without letting you know where we get this information. We actually give you the information on our website. If you go to marfooglenews.com, you will see this thumbnail, and you'll actually be able to spot all of the tweets, all of the videos, everything that we have shared here today, including any kind of information that we might get from you. So again, it is actually broken up into different chunks here, and this is the entire week broke down. So with that being said, Dex, let me pull you in and do a sound check. Dex is going to be helping co-host the show. What's going on?
Hey there, Adam, and hello, Foogle Fam. I'm doing just fine.
So right now we're trying something new for Saturdays, and we're going to try to go over all of the stuff from this week that is absolutely imperative for you guys to know. We're going to hit all of the main things. So if you missed a couple shows this week, we're kind of going over the most important things today. So to get started, I guess, obviously a lot of things have changed just in the last 7 days. Including in your state. Some things have reopened. Things have changed where you live. Is that right?
Oh, yeah. We keep every day we're getting more and more stores that are trying to open. And I've even been talking with business owners around town, even giving them advice on how to open up because they're struggling. I mean, the rules and guidelines that they have to follow. It's not just the Wild West. Everybody doesn't just open up, but they can open up if they follow the guidelines. And the guidelines are pretty strict, and it can be difficult for some stores and easier for others. But yeah, we're getting more and more each day.
So now we have some new news, I guess, and some even say that they believe it is some sort of body double being Kim. I don't think so. I think it's really him. And again, why did this entire thing happen over the last couple weeks? Why did they think that Kim, the leader of NK, was gone or, perished, whatever else? Do you still think that he is perished, if he is dead or not? That's a good question for everybody, because I know that a lot of folks think that this is old footage or that they somehow cleverly put him in via computer. I think it's him. And personally, after seeing it, I don't think that they did a body double on this one. He's a pretty hard guy. But then again, I've covered stories and we've talked about how the technology, including companies like DARPA actually assisting with makeup and things like this, they've got all sorts of departments, and even Boeing helping out with different spots, helping out with the new disguises that these agents use. It's absolutely amazing. If you've ever seen a Mission Impossible film, then you've seen kind of the fake, they have voice changers and then they take off the mask and it's totally somebody different. It's straight out of Scooby-Doo, right? Well, that is actually closer to reality now than it was, when those movies came out, because they do have some amazing technology. I mean, you're talking about microcomputers used to make sure that they have every kind of mannerism down. I mean, like really nuts. You're talking about mixing Hollywood-style makeup in with an endless budget and nanotechnology. That's what's actually happening right now. Of course, those are all top secret. There's a lot of stuff going on. It says that Kim Un resurfaces on state media with mysterious mark on wrist. That's pretty weird, and I'm sure that's going to spark a whole bunch of people saying he got some sort of new, or that it's a double. It says it's all in the wrist, at least when it comes to figuring out what happened to suddenly undead Kim Jong-un of NK. It says state media released footage Saturday of the portly 38-year-old dictator riding an electric cart around the Suncheon phosphatic fertilizer factory with a new mysterious mark on his wrist, NK News reported. So, again, with all of this stuff that has happened over this time, it's pretty clear to see that, that he is clearly alive, and we will see what is going on with this. So hold on one second here. I'm going to pull this up. It says speculation has swirled about Kim's health since he missed the April 15th celebration for Kim Il-sung, his grandfather and founder of NK. So, what do you think, Dex? Do you think it's really him, or do you think it's a double, or what?
I mean, at this point, it's almost comical. Like, is it live or is it Memorex, right? I mean, I have no idea until we get maybe more live footage or video footage of him, maybe meetings with other diplomats or things like that. Then it'll make sense. I mean, like, there's a couple of scenarios that are very plausible. I mean, the whole idea that he went in for surgery because he has health problems. Well, that makes a lot of sense because he does have health problems, and obviously he would need to recover from that. Did he run off to hide from a CV issue that was happening in his country? That's plausible too, and that could have been what it was or what it is. So, or this all could just be one giant, what's the term? He could really just be trolling the rest of the world, right? I mean, literally, he could be doing that.
By the way, speaking of trolling, I've got my RC505 looper here, which just completely got annihilated by a Coke here. So I'm gonna just drain it. Hopefully that works. I can't tell you guys. You guys don't see it. This is a live show, so anything can happen. But how many times I have spilt different things on this show, and usually that's why it stays on a different screen for a long time. Okay, so moving on. Obviously, this is a big deal. A lot of people don't know why it is. A lot of Americans, surprisingly, some don't actually know the whole story with Kim. All they know, most people know because they were scared of it. Media put a lot of things out there over the last 2 years, scaring us that this country might, actually attack us. It was one of the wild cards that people really did have that thought in the back of their head that they would attack. Whereas other countries, like Ryan and others, it's more of like a fantasy in our head, right? We don't really see it happening, even though it is a possibility. The thing is us as Americans and Europeans and Australians, we think it's never going to happen to us. It's actually kind of a not even a cultural thing. It's a human thing for us to say, it will never happen to me. It's, it's the same part of your brain that avoids the thought of death, right? Nobody wants to think about dying, and we literally put it in the back of our brain. We never want to think about it. With this, though, a lot of preppers, they get past that and they train their brain to actually think about this stuff and not be afraid. That's the whole point. People call this, fear porn. Sometimes they'll call it this, they'll call it that, sensationalist. It's not. We're talking about the stuff that nobody at work wants to talk with you about because it makes them nervous. Some people even admit it. They're like, it just makes me, it makes me scared, or it makes me this. Once you get past that, then you're not scared anymore, and then you're prepared. I mean, it's really a cliche, don't be scared, be prepared. But at the same time, people aren't. They won't talk about these things. You talk to certain family members, and I know there's a bunch of you that have these, they will literally just shut you down. They're like, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. Or you get that tone. You know, they think you're nuts. Or it's something that's been ingrained in their brain to actually, you know, look at you like you're weird, right? Everybody's had it. I'm pretty sure everybody that's here has had it at least once from somebody, if not all the time. Your family thinks you're crazy because of what you believe in. You can't even bring up things because you think that they're going to, you know, judge you or this or that. That's why we created this, and that's why everybody is welcome here, of course. Now, it says, exclusive NYPD chief of department says we are past the point of warnings when it comes to social distancing. So we covered it this week. Essentially, they have an army of cops, and they're fanning across the city of New York, and they are actually they're doing the next step. It says you might say it's no more Mr. Nice Guy. The NYPD will be out in force at parks, beaches, and playgrounds this weekend to make New Yorkers know that they cannot get up close and personal with each other. So this is, again, something that we covered, and at first it was people were doing this, people were doing that, then that slowly got down to nothing. New Mexico officially is like, it is very close to being called, you know, something law. I mean, there's some states that are completely different from others. Like in my state, you can drive across town. You could probably even drive 3 cross towns. But I do hear that there are certain checkpoints in certain parts of the state. So as far as like driving across state lines, you're most likely going to get stopped. But if you're driving to the store, I haven't seen anybody getting stopped. In fact, I've seen the same 2 police officers parked in their normal speeding spot, and they just sit there all day. I've never actually, in fact, I think they're doing less than they usually were. So very, very strange here. As far as in other states, you know, Georgia's reopening, it gives people the sense that everything's fine. Meanwhile, they're having protests in, what was that? The newest city that has, I think it was California, had a huge amount of people.
Oh, yeah.
Huge.
Theirs was big today.
Huge. I mean, you're talking, it looks like it looks like history in the making. If you guys are unaware of this, in California, they flocked to the beaches, and they had thousands and thousands of people, and there were police everywhere. They were trying to tell people to not do it. You know, who knows? Watch, California is probably going to be extended indefinitely or whatever. They'll do that, and I don't think it's deterring people from going out and doing this. It's only making them want to go out more. The thing is people are getting very angry, very nervous. I mean, people have been inside for, what is this? I mean, it's been 3 months, right? I mean, close to 3 months for some of us.
For some of us, yeah.
You're talking about 2 months, you know, at least.
Ultimately, what's happening is people are going out anyway at this point because they're getting really upset.
Businesses are opening. I mean, against the law.
You know, it started off early on where people were bringing extra people to the store with them just so they could get out of the house. But now people are just getting out.
Now people are literally saying, I'll take the fine. I'll take this. The restaurant, the woman called in last night. I believe, it was last night. She ate at a restaurant yesterday at 4:30. At 3:30, they had all of their licenses taken away. Get this. So she goes to a restaurant, a very popular restaurant. There's a line outside the door. This is at 4:30. At 3:30, an hour before she was even there, they came and took the liquor license, took the food license, took every license. And what did that person do? They kept going. They kept serving people. Apparently, on top of that, they were actually following technical rules for other states, but not for their states. So they were only seating enough to where there was 6 feet space between everybody. Apparently, none of the people there were wearing a mask. And then they were also doing one bathroom, and then after each use, they went in and cleaned it. So as far as some people are on their side, they said essentially they have helped the community. They spent 2 months making free food for everybody. They're like, it's time to reopen. That's their opinion. Well, they ended up getting shut down by about 9:30. This is the same gentleman who was on Tucker Carlson talking about it and saying he doesn't care if it's $3,000 per day. He's going to stack them until it's over. So he's saying $25,000, $100,000. He goes, I don't care. I'm going to stay open no matter what. and people are backing him. I mean, it's really crazy what's going on. This very well could turn into something that is absolutely scary.
Hey, did you hear that guy got cut off on Tucker Carlson because he was in the midst of giving out the cell phone number to the governor?
Oh my gosh, I did not know that. No, we only got that
Tucker
call.
Had to cut the air on him real quick.
So he handed out the cell phone number to the governor. I'm sure he would have to change his number anyways after that. And then it says all roads into Gallup, New Mexico are closed over uninhibited CV-19 spread. So this is literally checkpoints. You cannot go. All roads into this city are closed. Pretty nuts, right? It says New Mexico Governor Michelle Lujan Grisham invoked the state's Riot Control Act on Friday to essentially lock down the city of Gallup after its mayor requested that she do so on Thursday. That is nuts. Again, the pictures that are coming out of this look straight out of a movie. These are the checkpoints. This is literally, they are stopping people from going in and out. That is military there, and they are armed. So what do you guys think about this? Put it in the comments below. Are you in New Mexico? Are you trapped there? Are you in Gallup? And are you, is this affecting you? Can you not see family? Can you not go outside your area? It's pretty nuts. I mean, this is the next step for sure. And if this happened somewhere else like California or New York, imagine what would happen. I mean, in New York, what they did already was they actually track license plates, they track cell phones, and when those cell phones went out of state to their second homes, the police, military, and the National Guard actually went down and were knocking on door to door to door to say, is this person here? I mean, this is some crazy stuff that is going on here. To say the least, crazy. And then California County defies governor virus shutdown order. This is, of course, what we were talking about. A rural California county allowed non-essential businesses to reopen and diners to eat in restaurants on Friday, becoming the first to defy Governor Gavin Newsom's statewide orders, barring such moves during the CV pandemic. So this is a actual California county allowing non-essential businesses to reopen and defying the governor's wishes. So big deal here, because this is actually them saying, we're not enforcing this. Modoc County is, quote, moving forward with our reopening plan. Modoc County Deputy Director of Emergency Services Heather Hadwick said in an email to the Associated Press. So she said, we're moving forward with this plan with or without our governor's support. This is like a revolution. I mean, you guys are seeing just the tippy tip of the iceberg here. This is really nuts. The fact that this is happening, the fact that they are going against governments, they're going against governors, this is the beginning. I mean, there's nothing much I can say. You guys can sit here and watch yourself as history after history after history making move is going to be made. It says, Hadwick said the county has not heard back from the governor about its reopening plan, but asserted it aligns with Newsom's indicators for reopening. Schools weren't opening Friday, but it was an option for districts. What's weird about the schools thing is now my kids now have to do some stuff with school, and I don't get what's going on. There's no communication. There's nobody at the schools to actually call, and I just thought it was crazy. Basically get an email saying, hey, the school's going to start. It's 3 hours a day. It's this and that. I'm like, what about that announcement that they said the rest of the school year was closed? And now they're saying that you're doing digital learning. It's just very disorganized. Nobody knows what's going on here, at least. Nobody I've talked to. Then I called several offices. They have no idea. No idea. If you guys want to end up protecting yourself, we're going to be covering some issues that you guys are going to see. Even if you don't go through us, go through somebody else, go through the company without us, go to empshield.com, check them out. They can actually block against all three phases of an EMP, E1, E2, and E3. Not only that, it will protect your devices or your car or your solar system or your ham radio against a coronal mass ejection. So all of those, it's made in America. Those guys are absolutely amazing. check them out. Again, if you go to marfooglenews.com/EMP, it will help us. Otherwise, you can go separately and not do it. Either way, we are recommending that you protect yourself. This is the same thing that the DoD, DHS, and now the DEMSO team, the official team that's protecting the Texas grid, is now using. So make sure to check it out. And then we've got hundreds of protesters, some carrying guns in the state capitol, demonstrate against Michigan's emergency measures. Protesters held signs, waved American flags, and even carried firearms as lawmakers debated extending Governor Gretchen Whitmer's state of emergency. So look at that. Look at that face. That dude's got he's got a yelling face. Yeah. So all of these people not wearing masks, screaming in their face. You know, I'm actually surprised, Dex, I don't know if you saw this picture in here, but I'm surprised they didn't get them for, tea threats or something, because now this is considered kind of terroristic or whatever.
Well, you know what's interesting is when we reported on this one earlier in the week, I had thought it was kind of a strange thing that you're going into the Capitol being armed, but then I found out later from other Michiganians like Bones. He said, "Hey, it's not uncommon. We actually have gone to the Capitol, and it is normal to wear arms in the Capitol."
Because it's a Capitol, it's not. You would think it's a federal building, right, or something like that. But I guess it's.
Well, I guess they don't have a state law against it, and I guess for other protests and other things they've done in the past, they have worn firearms and carried those on them in the Capitol building. So, matter of fact, he even showed me other pictures of prior times that had happened.
And again, we're trying to recap this week, and we're going to get into some of the stuff that we think is important here. Again, T-Man ordered meat plants to actually stay open in a move unions are slamming. So again, this was something that affected a lot of our viewers. In fact, after we covered this story earlier this week, this was something that actually got us a lot of feedback via email. A lot of people were saying that they did not want to work, or they were saying that they were glad they got to go back to work. Some of these meat plants, and this is from a personal messages from people saying, now I just got called back into work. I've been on furlough, but now I'm going to have to work, and I'm actually going to get paid less. And I am working in close quarters with a bunch of people. They are at some of these plants. They're not providing masks, and I'm thinking you guys should have masks anyway if you're touching meat and doing all this stuff. I guess it's more complicated depending on what position you're in. But they were not happy, and then some were absolutely elated that they got to go back to work. It's really a hit or miss. This was an executive order put into play. We've been seeing executive orders like almost every week now. It's absolutely nuts. So that was, again, an order. It's an executive order on Tuesday that compels slaughterhouses to remain open. It's just weird saying that. Slaughterhouses staying open. Setting up a showdown between the giant companies that produce America's meat and the unions and activists who want to protect the workers in this pandemic. So a lot of people are arguing on either side of that. It is getting a little bit hotter. Whereas the beef, of course, we talked about this. America's meat processing plants are hit hard, as they say. They are saying that a lot of these places are elbow to elbow nature of work, and that's exactly what we heard from some of our viewers that work there. They say you're literally tight quarters, side by side, within a foot or 12 inches, and you have to be. A lot of the manufacturing stuff, the stuff where one person does everything, some of these places do not have the robots doing it. They have humans. So one person does something and the next person does the next. Again, they are saying that we are going to start to see a huge shortage of meat. Is that actually going to happen? We will see, especially after that executive order. We will shortly find out what is actually going to happen. Again, I want to make sure you guys know. We want to have any ideas. If you guys have any ideas how we can help, I mean, if we have this platform, we have all these people, I would love for you guys to contact us through our website. If you have ideas of how we could use this platform for the better of the country, for the better of people, just let us know. I've really been racking my brains on how to help everybody, and I just, many minds are better than one. Let's just say that. 2 heads are better than one, but hundreds of thousands of heads are better than one for sure. So please, if you guys have ideas, there's no stupid idea. Send it to Adam at Marfoogle News or Dex at marfooglenews.com. And then America's mounting meat crisis laid bare in pictures showing empty store shelves across the country after processing plants were forced to slow production and close amid the outbreaks. So one thing that we showed you is that they are actually culling and taking out, one instance we heard 60,000 chickens were taken out because there's nowhere to process them, right? So think about 60,000 full chickens that are not in that little hot rack at the grocery store. 60,000 wasted chickens, just completely just gone, thrown away. And we're we're talking about live ones.
And the latest stat that I just saw today, it's in one of the articles. You may have skipped it. It doesn't matter. I'll just give you the highlight right here. The cattle slaughter is down 37% from a year ago. Okay. That's a huge drop. And what they're saying and what they were telling us a few days ago is, oh, don't worry, it's only 10 to 15% because of the meat packing plants. But when you take it a step back in the supply chain, it's actually down 37% from the slaughter before it goes to the meat packing plant. So that drop in 37% in beef and 35%, I believe it is, in hog.
So that's
from this time last year. That's huge.
That's gigantic. I don't think people can even wrap their head around how many animals, how many units of food that is. On top of that, it says that Bloomberg actually relayed that the U.S., Brazil, and Canada account for 65% of the world meat trade. So that's a big deal. And then, again, we're hearing a lot of weird conflicting things about Canada as well. A lot of things going on there as well. So my Canadian brothers and sisters up there, I hope you guys are okay as well. So, you're going to see the prices go up. That's absolutely for sure. You're going to see more limitation of buying meat, but they say that this is even getting worse with them limiting this. What I thought is crazy is some of the states that are doing these 1 mile long lines for food bank food as well. So it really is a scene out of a movie. What was that?
Yeah, that's nuts. Hey, I was going to say, I mentioned on the other show this week that we went out and bought frozen meat from, I think, Omaha or whatever it was, so we could get some of this meat in bulk, right? Well, the next day I went back and logged in. They're sold out.
You mean the company sold out?
Well, the burgers, the cheap meat, like chicken breasts, hamburgers, and just regular ground beef. Yeah, everything that we were looking at is down to like either 1 or 2 items or it's sold out.
It's probably the Foogle Fam. We should have kept that secret. No, I'm just kidding. But
yeah, but that is just a perfect example because I was following that like a month ago. I was thinking, well, maybe I'll get some meat, but it's a little overpriced, right? So I was like, I don't need it. And then as this continued to progress, I was like, all right, well, I'm going to pay a little extra and I'll buy it. And then sure enough, the next day it's gone because it was dwindling down. I kept watching it week over week as it got smaller and smaller.
Wow. So maybe our shout out, man, they probably got all these orders from Foogle Fam. Well, I tell you what, in this time, people paid a lot more for a lot of different things. I mean, I talked to somebody that paid $18 for a little bottle of sanitizer. I also talked to some people that said that that kind of the skippers or what do they call them? What do you call the guys who sit outside of a store? They stole batteries and then they sell them. What are those called? There's a nickname for them. Not skeevers. That's a good one though. But I'm Dex. Do you know what I mean?
No, I have no idea.
They boosters. So these boosters were selling $40 for a regular little bottle, or it's like a regular kind of soap size bottle of Germex, and they were selling a lot of them. And what ended up happening is at the very beginning, what they said is that this same homeless person stole all this, and this person ended up making like $5,000 in a weekend, sitting on the corner of a downtown area and selling these for $40 a piece. And I thought, man, that is absolutely just dirty. Like, that's the most messed up thing. I'm surprised he, lasted that long without getting arrested. But apparently they couldn't. I don't think that they could prove that that was the same thing or something. But people paid for masks. People paid online. They paid 4, 5, 10 times as much for masks than they normally would. You're talking about $2 disposable masks being sold for $13, $15, $18. I mean, this is just absolutely horrible. Again, this is the article that we showed you earlier, healthy pigs being taken out as meat packing backlog hits farms. So again, they're not shifting that meat, and they ended up killing livestock because there's no space. And then the executive order on securing the United States bulk power system. This is, again, why we end up working with EMP Shield. I talked about this a year before we ended up ever working with them. I've told you about every week for 2 years that this is something that all of our military group has had a concern about, again. And we literally told you there was going to be more mainstream news and more things directly from the president about this. And here it is. This just came out. Again, this is the executive order on securing the United States bulk power system, because all of our military bases, a lot of this is all based on the civilian power grid. And now more than ever, they are literally stepping it up. They already did something to secure the grid. They signed this. They signed a lot of money into power, and now they're doing this. So it makes you ask, why are they doing this on top of what they already did? Well, I'll tell you, because they are continuing. They believe that there is some serious threats out there, and you don't have to believe me. You can go to the DHS warning in 2018. They have put out multiple bulletins since then. So again, it's something that everybody can plainly see is actually higher up in priority scale. Senators have been talking about this. Congressmen have been talking about this. I talked to a congressman about 6 months ago that talked about this. So, by the authority vested in me as president and by the constitutional law of the United States of America, including the International Emergency Economic Powers Act, I, Donald T., essentially, let's see here, President of the United States of America, find that foreign adversaries are increasingly creating and exploiting vulnerabilities. So these are, which the craziest part is that we showed you NERFA, or was it NERC, NERC? We showed you the actual documents that out of 500 and something, I think it was 570 or 592 attacks, or different suspicious things that happened to our grid, only one was reported to the public. They physically showed a graph in their actual release that wasn't publicized. It wasn't put all over the place. One of our viewers here brought it into our attention. The NERC, which looks at all this, said that 500 and something attacks and different things happen, including people actually physically taking a weapon to it, people driving into it, people putting explosives near it. All of these things happen. One was reported, and that includes cyber, everything. So they have all of these things going on that we as civilians are not in the need to know. But then again, a lot of different, your power goes out, you assume, well, what if the power goes out and there's no storm or something like that? It says exploiting vulnerabilities in the United States bulk power system, so the power grid, which provides electricity that supports our national defense, vital emergency services, critical infrastructure, economy, and way of life. The bulk power system is a target of those seeking to commit malicious act against the United States and its people. Malicious cyber activities, because a successful attack on our bulk power system would present significant risks to our economy. Now remember, this is later on it goes into this, and it actually it points out that 90% of us would perish in a full-scale grid down scenario. Go ahead.
Yeah, Adam. I was just gonna say, I think the main bulk of this is about, like you've said already, the power grid, protecting it, but it's the products that we're bringing in from outside the country into the power grid is that they're shutting that down. Like no more, bringing in things from adversarial countries. Presumably, I think the one he's probably pointing the finger at here is the one he's been pointing the finger at with a lot of other things, which is China, right? We saw that with Huawei and other things. So, not allowing that technology or any technology from those countries or other countries that they so choose
to be tapped
to
in,
put on a list and say, hey, you can't bring it in. We're not putting it into the power grid because we're not running the risk of them opening up back doors into our power grid.
Well, and then not only that, it's pretty freaking clear that something is going on between the two because, China's cutting off all communications, even for gamers. You're talking about cutting all voice chat and, any kind of chat going out from even Animal Crossing. I mean, that's what they say started it, but really all Xbox, PlayStation, all video game users in China, they cut that chat off from all other countries. You've got Russia disconnecting their internet, and then you've got us saying, Huawei, companies like that. You've got drones, DJI. We covered this about 3-4 months ago, where the military said we're not using DJI drones anymore. What does that say? In fact, remember they even said in the military that you couldn't use TikTok and things like this because they were, I think it was TikTok, because it was either TikTok or another app, Face app, or not Face app. That was Russia. Do you remember what I'm talking about? It was because
there was a couple of, there was some social ones. There was definitely TikTok, and some of them were around geolocation and the fact that it was capturing where they were. But also all of the facial captures for facial recognition with adversarial countries. That was a big deal.
Well, because FaceApp was Russia, and then TikTok was China, and they were saying that military would not be allowed to use that anymore because China was actually possibly getting the information from that.
Yeah, and the other industry that's really prevalent in the U.S. that is from China is the video camera industry, from a sense of the surveillance video camera. Daewoo is one of them. There's about 3 others, but they're all basically made, and they all have back doors into them. Every one of them, it was found, they all have an exploited back door into all of these video camera surveillance systems that are deployed in commercial operations, in home operations, in mom and pop stores, etc.
And so you hear what he said. So all of these Wi-Fi wireless cameras that were made in China all potentially have back doors, so they can literally monitor a whole country potentially through back doors. Again, lots of crazy stuff. Somebody said, I wanted to see that. Somebody said, Dex knows his tech. That's right. Dex has had a history in tech, and he's very, very smart. Crisari's 76, thank you for the diamond. Also says, hope you got a chance to get a look at all the links. Not yet, I will be honest with you. Heard bold, chips are falling. Thank you guys for the lemons. Obey777, the Nameless Block, Mr. Aussie. We've got Enchanted by You. Thank you for the diamonds, Lady Green Eyes. You Rock Marf, LOL. Thank you, Chris. And then Renegade Petey, No Law 504. Thank you. You've got numbered 0000. Thank you guys. Good night and God bless to all of the Marfoogles. Appreciate that. Crisari, very, very generous. Thank you for all of those diamonds. Priscilla, thank you as well. God bless us all. I think that was 3 or 4 diamonds there. And then we've got a ton of different things going on as we speak with Ryan. And again, this is something that we covered, and you guys need to focus on this. At least keep eyes and ears open. Not only did they do a bulletin just a few months ago, you've got DHS, you've got Homeland Security actually doing bulletins about them, saying that they have indeed these, super high up threats coming out of there. they now reportedly successfully launched a military satellite using the same advanced technologies that guide intercontinental ballistic missiles, or ICBMs. Now, the thought and the theory here is that that this could have been an EMP. This is why we covered this. There's a lot of stuff happening, even if it wasn't. I know that there's a lot of theories of who's doing what, but that doesn't matter. Do you think that a Fantastic Freddy wouldn't come from one direction or the other? Whatever they might do about this, we don't know. So
right, all it takes is a satellite, and that's exactly what we know they did.
So basically, what the experts are saying is that this thing that we know went up there is very, very capable. They don't even have to be skilled. They can literally hit it, in a huge area, and it would knock out everything. And this, right before they sign an executive order backing up our grid. I mean, come on. It's pretty telling if you ask me, but you guys use your best judgment there. And then, of course, we talked about the warning about CV-19, nothing compared to EMP. 295 million goners. As bad as the CV and the CV-19 sickness causes are, warning cries are increasing over a much bigger threat, with the potential of 90% of the population passing away. And unlike the virus, Washington has known of the threat for decades and done little to nothing. It says, quote, "We have seen this movie before and are living through it now," said Peter Pry, one of the nation's leading experts on electromagnetic pulse, the electric grid killer that threatens naturally from the sun and from weapons held by China. Not only China, but Russia and Iran. Says, if we are not even prepared for the CV, imagine the consequences if we get hit with a real existential threat like EMP. Saying that if this grabs us by surprise, if this overwhelms anybody, if this overwhelms our store, imagine no power anywhere in the country. You are talking about, I would say 99% of America is not prepared. 99% of us don't have generators, don't have this, don't have that. So what happens then? People end up going absolutely ape. I mean, if there's no deadline, like if there's no, I guess if there's no fix in sight, right? A lot of people don't know this, but if we had a full-scale EMP, everything goes down and it doesn't come back up. It would take 9 months to 2 years to replace the parts, and those parts are not made in the U.S., and they're not even set up to be made in the U.S. This was the big deal. This is why, since it was being talked about for decades, why did we not start manufacturing them here? This is the part of the problem that we are in right now, because not everything is made here. So if all of our grid goes down, the big transformers blow, what happens? Well, can't do anything about it for 9 months at least, because they make them out of country. They're extremely complicated to make, these huge things, and it would take forever. So you're talking about a year without food, and that is why they say that you would not have access to clean water would be the leading cause of it. So imagine. And it says, for the $2 trillion that will be spent on the CV, we could harden all critical infrastructures against an EMP, deploy space-based missile defense, brilliant pebbles before the end of the second T term, modernize the U.S. nuclear deterrent from top to bottom, including delivery vehicles, weapons, scientific industrial base, and have over $1 trillion to spare. So Peter Pry is essentially saying, for half of what we just did, we could have completely protected ourselves against this threat, but we won't. And we didn't. And now we know for a fact through intelligence that this is something that is on the priority of like 8 psychos. So the congressional...
But it's interesting we're doing it in some places though, right? Because like we know from Texas, our friends at EMP Shield that they're doing it because they work with the grid. And the ones that they've told us that we're allowed to talk about is Texas, right? Which you just said. So we know that they're doing things to harden that grid.
Whoa.
But
they're
the
hardening them. They're hardening military bases. That's the thing.
Yeah.
But the civilians aren't.
No, exactly. No, the civilians aren't, but the grid is being worked on. So the one thing that I remember Andrew telling us a long time ago is when they do put in hardening in the grid, it means that downtime from an EMP would be a lot less, right? The grid would be able to come back in a matter of weeks instead of in a matter of year or more, right? They could bring it back within 4 weeks or 6 weeks, so the power wouldn't be out as long. So that's why I think it's so important when we think about spending in this article and like hardening, not just facilities, but hardening even the technology that's in the grid itself so it can withstand that and not be such a detrimental, year and a half, 2 year long downtime where we could get it down to even just a 30-day downtime. I mean, that would be bad, but that would be a lot better.
Absolutely. I mean, you're talking about the difference between, probably 80% of the population, living or not living. So it's a big deal. And then let's see here. Of course, the executive order. This is what I said. And I just told somebody, I messaged somebody. I said, we're not... For some reason we got grouped in when we came over to D-Live. A lot of people categorize us as a political channel. Even my friends, they say, oh, well, out of all the political streamers, you're the coolest. And I'm like, we're not a political streamer. In fact, we stay really pretty neutral. We want you guys to make your decisions on stuff. But I just told him, I said, other than, covering executive orders and things, which it came to mind because how many did we have this week? I mean, this is like 4. Other than this, like we kind of stay really neutral as far as, because it's not our place to make you decide something. It's our place to show you information that you might not know. And we're putting it together from all over the place and giving you the source. So then if you see something that piques your interest, you can go and check it out. Again, you can find all of this on marfooglenews.com. Now, it says, executive order on ordering the selected reserve of the armed forces to active duty. So this is a small group, or they say it's a small group of about 200 people, very special people. And I believe that Dex's theory is correct, and after talking to some folks now, that there are certain people that have to, for them to pay financially for these guys to come back in, some of them very special commanders and things like this, they have to do this. So they did an executive order which okayed the permission to grab these guys back into force. Very well, this could contain like some super spy. I mean, there could be a spy in this thing. There could be whatever. They're trying to get certain people and grab them and get them into I guess a mission. Again, this is another executive order, essentially approving the special reserves. So it's pretty telling what is going on here, and I hope people understand what is happening here. And then earlier this week, China expelled a U.S. Navy vessel from the South China Sea. This is a big deal, too, because this was international waters until they built islands. And they literally took dirt from the bottom of the ground and put it up and made islands where there weren't any. They expanded on the Spratly Islands, and now they have a complete forward operating base. I should say bases. There are several. I mean, we're talking about, you've got airfields, you've got tanks, you've got anti-air, you've got everything out there. And what's crazy is they say, oh, there's all this they're probably there because of resources, but there's no drilling units, there's no drilling rigs, there's nothing. There's just military. Just military and airfields and things like that. So, what do you think it is? So, I'd love to hear your opinion on this. Leave it in a comment below. Okay, now we're getting into the craziness that just happened over the last week and over the last day. It's even got crazier from Elon. So we showed you the tweet, the really creepy tweet from Elon last week. In fact, if I can pull this up real quick, let's just go to this. So a lot of people were freaked out by Elon Musk's asteroid tweet, which if you look, it was actually a picture. I just tweeted Elon Musk. You guys, so check this out. So here's Elon Musk. Let's go to tweets and replies. And oh, by the way, the whole terraforming Mars on his background, that just spooks me out too. So it shows Mars slowly terraforming into another Earth. And it's because it's him that it matters. Oh my gosh. I don't want to set the world on fire by the ink spots. Okay, just so you know, the ink spots are from the 20s. I just told, I think it was Chris Starr or another creator this. I said, do you know about the ink spots? And my mom listened to it. This is, nobody would know it. You have to find the vinyl on record, to find their stuff. So I'm absolutely blown away. That song has some weird symbology in it. So just caught that. What happened, and you guys are going to care, because even if you don't care about Elon Musk, you're going to care once you hear this weirdness, okay? Not only this other thing. So first off, yesterday, he said he did all of this crazy stuff, right? He said freedom, set everybody back to work. And then he says, I'm selling almost all physical possessions. I will, and it doesn't even say I will own no house. And people are like, why? And then he does the rockets, red glare bombs bursting in air. He does the national anthem. Are we still free? Are we still brave? Hell yeah. And then says, give people their freedom back. And he's doing all this stuff, right? Which, mind you, this guy is, we're going to talk about how his money just went up, all sorts of. So this tweet, which, by the way, last year he got in trouble for actually doing tweets, and now he has to have his tweets go through a team of lawyers before he does them, because he got in trouble with the FCC over his tweets affecting the stocks. He literally did one tweet, and it just dropped $14 billion off of the value of his company. He says, Tesla's stock price is too high, in my opinion. This is the owner saying Tesla's stock price is too high. Well, what happened is everybody pulled out. They panicked. They go, what is he doing? Why would he say that his own stock price is too high? So get this, $14 billion dropped off of the value of his company. People are freaking out. They're like, why would you do this? And
now, there are some CEOs that would actually want to do that, but would never do it, right? They would think it, they just couldn't say it.
Ever.
Because there's a position where you may get into where your company's overvalued, and you don't want to have to navigate that, because you're like, I can't make myself look any better and try to live up to these high expectations, right? Because I got myself into that pickle, which may not be a bad thing, because if you sell, you make money. But at the end of the day, you have to live with it. And so, yeah, I don't think that's the case with him at the moment. I have no idea how to understand what's going through his thought process through all of these tweets, from the asteroid tweet to, this tweet to the one, about freedom and telling people to push back. That was just, I don't know what's going through this guy's mind right now.
I mean, it's like, people are saying he's nuts. And he does this like once a year. He just completely throws people off, and people are like, what is he doing? I mean, he's, people say he's, what? I mean, look at this. This is a DARPA project, by the way, wearing costumes, dinosaur costumes. Oddly mesmerizing, he says. God, this guy tweets a lot too. That's one thing to be said. Some people can go, well, he tweets a lot of stuff, right? Well, he doesn't usually affect $14 billion worth of stuff there. Dex, will you pull up the dang tweet with the asteroid? because this is, in fact, it's on our website. I could have just easily got there.
I'll grab it. Hang on.
And then he says this thing that ends up dropping the value by $14 billion. Then he says he's going to sell all his possessions. And I get it. There's people arguing saying, oh, this is totally, it's a joke or this or that. He's doing some of the weirdest stuff. And one thing that people said is, if you knew the world was going to end, would you have fun with it? Not only this, his money, his net worth, 1 month ago was $24 billion. It just went up in 1 month to $36 billion. That's a 50% raise in net worth in 1 month. What changed? That's not because of Tesla stock. That's not because of any of this. It's something else. Again, that was before today, so I don't know how much his net worth just went back down, but we're talking about his net worth just shot the heck up. Is that because of a government contract? Again, one thing I want you guys to think about, and this was just a theory that came out, was this network of satellites around our Earth. Do we physically get to touch them, see them getting launched? Are they for internet, or are they possibly for asteroid defense? I don't know if you guys remember this, but he also is playing a part with his company. And before all of this, before Starlink was announced, he was talking about asteroid defense. Now, all of a sudden, we're going to have a network around us. Then you've got a lot of the folks saying that Atlas didn't shut down. All the telescopes ended up shutting down in the entire world. Only the ones that the U.S. controls are still open.
The tweets in the screener.
And then to get this, just absolutely weird. Check this out. Yeah, and I'm sure most of you guys have seen this. I just want you guys to really think about some of the stuff that we've talked about over the last year, and it's really creepy. Elon Musk, the man who owns the company, who is literally going to space, he's government contracted, he's in the know, he goes to meetings that absolutely none of us would even imagine what they're talking about. He sits in White House meetings. I mean, the guy knows he's got clearance. And he does this as a joke, right? He also, somebody outed him saying that he possibly changed his stock price or something to 420 as a joke. Everybody thinks it's a funny joke. Well, if you had that much money and knew of something impending and you had a stupid humor attitude, what would you do? It's absolutely weird. And it says, oh God, the economy. But actually, this is what we should be worrying about. I mean, it's wrote there. It's like he thought about this. He sat there and he goes, how could I say this without saying it? And how could I put this together? Like, everybody's saying, oh my gosh, the economy. But he's saying the world. So I just want people to look into some of this stuff. The Class 2 gas giants, FEMA, FOIA, Freedom of Information Act, what money they're putting towards recovery from debris fields and things like that. Just go check it out because, a lot of weird stuff is out there. So I'm going to stick by that, by the way.
Hey, Adam, we missed a Ninjet, and I want to bring light to it from End Times. It was earlier in the show.
End Times, I am so sorry we missed that. But again,
I can read it real quick. My wife works for the courthouse, and she's been at home getting paid for almost 2 months. We are blessed. My thoughts and prayers to everyone. So End Times, thank you.
Thank you, End Times, for passing that on, and we really appreciate that. That goes towards helping our channel. For everybody else that is doing as well, both on DLive and on YouTube. If you are on YouTube or on DLive, all of your stuff ends up going on to the next show. Thank you. You are supporting something that, we are actually trying to do something bigger. I guess thank you for being a part of something bigger. Priscilla, thank you again for supporting us over on DLive. This channel is not set up. We are actually getting that set up so we can actually see those super chats, but it's not connected. So just know that you will be on the Marfoogle TV show. You will also be on the DLive show in the ticker next show. Well, so that is this week. I wanted to sum up make this a quick sum up of the rest of the week. Normally Fridays we would do kind of a DLive only show. We're still working things out. Things have gotten extremely complicated lately. We are not doing phones on Saturdays. So we want you to make sure to get over and watch last night's show if you have not already. It's over on Marfoogle TV. The replay is also on DLive. I appreciate you guys. Dex, if you would like to say anything last about the situation with this, I would love to hear it.
Thank you, Adam. No, everybody, just be safe, be smart out there with what's going on. There's a lot of opinions, a lot of positions you can take, and a lot of them all have some sort of potential caution that you need to have. So just be really smart about the decisions you're making. Make the right decisions for you, your family. Make sure you're looking at all of the information that you have available to you before you make those decisions. Okay?
Absolutely, and very smart advice here. Let's see here. Just want to make sure.
Always adore.
Whoa, there we go. And I want to make sure that I end up grabbing these. Name absolutely, and very smart advice here. Just hear myself. We're going to be doing the chest over on DLive in about 5 minutes here. Plumber Bill, thank you. JW Arch, Cypher, Johnny Doom, Gene Blythe, Lilitus 1212. Dex, check your email. Sending meat to China. Weird. Kahaja Fly Girl. Terraforming backdrop should be read from left to right, like Hebrew, Chinese, and Arabic. Oh, weird. So, left to right. Well, that would mean, yeah. I don't know if you're saying that it's going backwards or what. Cheryl from Dayton. And then we've got Blue Knight 602. Thank you, and I got your picture of the whole thing. I will end up posting. Make sure to DM me if that's okay to post, if I am able to share that. It looks like we've got Kahaja, Cutthroat Mom, Weezer Wheeze, Lilitus, Serenity PA. Thank you guys for being in the top supporters. Twyla Suin, Joseph, I appreciate that. Almost with 3 Ninja Guineas there, so thank you. I appreciate that as well. We are going to actually pop open YouTube and say goodbye. I appreciate each and every one of you guys. We'll have a normal show tomorrow. I'm sorry, not tomorrow, Monday. We're going to do a tiny show. Normally Sunday and Mondays are off. We're going to be doing a tiny show, and then Tuesday we're coming back with the heat. So make sure to be there. And let's see here. Just wanted to pop up and make sure.
And Adam, if you want to look at the screener, I put some information in there for you.
Perfect. Let's see here. Oh, cool. Awesome. EO2 Dave. Maybe it's LSD in Elon's mind. I don't know. But the girl he dates is kind of Grimes or whatever her name is. She has talked about drugs a lot in her past, I believe. Chad Chaddington. Plop Plop Fizz Fizz. Good one. Dub Coco just picked an EAP shield with Marf as the coupon. Thanks, brother. Well, thank you, Dub Coco, for supporting us in that way. Barefoot Lass, choose faith over fear. Absolutely. And Barefoot, thank you for being around for so long. Days of the Unknown, thank you from Canada, it looks like. Bob Tom, process plants for restaurants are shut down. That's why extra meat thrown away. And then Homegrown USA, time to prepare is running out. Awesome job. I agree, Homegrown, and I'm glad to have you in tonight. It's good to see you. Digna Ortiz, full of hope, please. Did you get my email from the UK? No, but it looks like it's urgent. I will check. April Saffel, living by all the meat plants, closing huge spikes in CV cases. This show got me and my family prepped up. Thank you, Adam and Dex. Well, thank you. And April, that really means a lot to us. Full of Hope, GBP. Please, did you get my mail back for it? This is a different one. Wow. There's a lot of people that are urgently out there. And then Portia Wansham. Thank you guys. I appreciate all of you. You guys have a wonderful night. Again, I would, there's no shoutro on this kind of show. I was going to do a little one, but my looper is fried. So we'll see. All right. Thank you guys. Be safe. Much love. Marf out.
You want to know what's going on? What's really going on when it happens? Go to marfooglenews.com and get Marfoogle alerts along with a Discord invitation where you can find your local state group and get together with the Foogle Fam. You'll find fast friends where you'll share prep and intel, and there's even special groups for former and current military. But don't try and steal the valor of those who have really served. It won't go well for you. The Marfoogle Fam is waiting for you.